What's going on, everybody? We are back. It has been quite some time since I've uploaded a video. The last time you guys saw us, we took this out to the track and I was on stock suspension and it all sorts of blew up and boogered and did a whole bunch of crap. So this needs to be replaced. Same thing with the front suspension, but I started a new job. So I couldn't just go ahead and buy coilovers because I had no money. So after some time of saving up a little bit, I was able to acquire some new suspension that I'm extremely excited about. This is from Silvers, and it is some of the only true suspension that I could find that are true coils in the rear, which is really nice to see. So we are going to be getting rid of this. We're going to be putting a full strut assembly here instead of just a shock. It is all one piece, and you can see that right here. So it's really nice. It's gonna make the car feel a lot more stable, and I hate those independent springs in the back because they're just a pain to work on. You've got to get the jack underneath it, and true coilovers are gonna be much easier to work on. So we're gonna go ahead and get these installed and hopefully get this thing back on the ground today, and I'm extremely excited about it. We have some more parts that are coming down the pipeline. They were just back ordered and I canceled the order and got to find some new stuff. So we've got more coming. It's going to start the funnel in for this car. We're getting really, really close to being done with it and I'm super excited. We are starting up here in the front. These are super easy. So you can see they're kind of like tubes. You just put the shock or the strut into that tube there. And to remove it, I just have to get these 3 bolts undone. That's just a line. You put that in there to get the alignment right. Or not alignment, but to line up the strut properly. And then you take off this sway bar end link there and it should pop right out. So this should be pretty easy, pretty straight, simple. We're gonna get those ripped out and then we are going to make sure everything here is correct so that it's all the same height, everything there, and then we'll kind of go from there. So the next time you see me, I will have this strut knocked out. Okay, so the sway bar end links, we got them out. We had to put a pickle fork on the back to put some pressure here because these will just spin. So we got that off. Popped all the brackets off here. We got to get this nut down here removed that you can see me pointing at. And then we'll just have to take these off and they're out. Okay, after a little bit of tugging and pulling and getting it out, that is what the strut goes into. And then it just kind of clamps on the backside. And then over here is your strut. So these things are pretty toast. As you can see, definitely needed to be replaced. They are donezo. So got rid of those guys. And we are upgrading to these guys right here, the Silvers. So I'm gonna put it next to it so you can see how big of a difference this is. Brand new suspension, it's beautiful and nice. Those are 10K spring rates in the front, 8K in the back. And then you have all your adjustments here, dampers at the top. These things are wicked nice. So I'm super excited. They even have camber adjustment on them. So these things are super nice. I'm very excited about them. So far, I would highly recommend. Everything was super nice. They were delivered pretty quick. And now we just got to slap these bad boys on. Okay, so I've got the strut mounted up top just so we can mock everything up. And just for like visual purposes, the old strut, the bottom of it here was touching this while it sat here like this. So we've already got 6 inches of low, which is really nice to see. But we've got preload adjustment, our lowering adjustment, and then up top we have our hardening and dampening, and then we actually have camber adjustment on these camber plates. So these are super nice. All in all, they were $1,400, which is super bang for buck for this nice of a suspension. And then in the rear, especially with it being true coilover, because you can get true coilover from BC, things like that, but it's all custom order. And I had no idea how much that was gonna cost. So I hit up Silvers, I called them, went over a couple things on which route I should go. And with this being a low horsepower budget drift car, they said these would be perfect. So I'm super excited to see how they perform. And hopefully they're really, really nice. But we're gonna get back to throwing these boys in. Jackson's kind of going at it over there. So next time you see these, hopefully they're all the way in. Well, it's safe to say that this bad boy is most likely going to be slammed in the front because there's not a whole lot of room in there. So we mocked up the wheel going in there. It might work, and if it doesn't, we'll just raise it up a little bit. But that sucker's going to be low. So it's really nice. We adjusted the camber to have a little bit more camber in the front, help with steering and things like that, which we're just gonna try it out like that for now. It's always adjustable. So far we're getting there. Jackson's wire wheeling one of these little bolts that goes back right in there. That hole goes back in there. We're wire wheeling that off so we can make sure it all fits right. But so far so smooth. We haven't touched the back yet, but we'll get there. All right, so we got everything. Jackson's working his wizard magic, getting the sway bar end links back on, but everything's on there. It's tight. She's gonna be low, but we've got camber adjusted. We've still gotta do the dampening, which that's the easy part, so I'm not too worried about that. But I'm gonna start tackling the rear, because should be fairly easy. All I have to do is disconnect the shock here, disconnect the control arm, drop it down, get the spring out, and then put a shock and strut assembly back in. So should be pretty easy, hopefully, fingers crossed. Okay, so I'm kind of an idiot and I got a little ahead of myself. And in the rear, when you are taking this rear suspension off, you have to jack it up to take the pressure off the spring, right? So what you do is you jack it up, take the bolt out of the shock, and then lower it back down to get that pressure off the spring, and then you can undo this here. But what I didn't do was lower it back down. So I started taking out this bolt, all the pressure was still on the spring, started to pop, make some freaky noises, got back out from under it, and chewed up that bolt a little bit, but it's okay. Hopefully we have a tap and die set to fix it. If not, it's really not the end of the world. I'm just glad that nothing broke. So I have the spring out, spring's right there. Now all I have to do is get these off of here, and then the shock drops right out, and the new rear struts go back in. It's totaled. Look at that. My rear shock was toast. And you're not supposed to be able to do this. Push down on it for one, and then it doesn't return. These are not supposed to operate that way, so definitely glad that we are going to be replacing these, because that was most likely my problem the day we went out. All the clunking we were hearing was most likely coming from that. So, hands are a little dirty. But we're gonna get the rear struts into the right positions for measurements, things like that, slap them back in, and then should be all said and done. And the cool part about having true coilovers in the rear is you don't have to do that whole stupid jack it up from the shock. You just pop them out. That's the best part. And that's why I wanted to go true coil, because they're so much easier to work on. They look better, and I think they're a little bit more comfortable. I've had the normal rear suspension like this on my Focus ST, and it was the most annoying and noisy thing in the world. Now, they were cheap, they were Raceland, never would recommend going that route, but they still did it, and I didn't want to have to deal with that again in a performance car. So we're gonna slap those guys back in. I'll show you the process of getting them measured out, but we're moving along pretty well. All right, got this side also out, and the funniest part about all this is that that bolt didn't even need to come off. Really, it's just this one bolt on the backside here that takes that shock out. This bolt stays in, and then you just drop the spring out. So I will be replacing these and getting a actual rear control arm that's not this big plate that's gonna hold stuff. But first I need to get the rear camber adjustments. So I'm gonna slap the coils back in after we get them adjusted, and she'll be ready to go. Hopefully I will be able to buy rear camber arms soon. But however, we are going to go to a Indiana Fever game to watch Caitlin Clark, because we're gonna hop on the bandwagon, and we live in Indiana, so it's gonna be kind of cool. So we're gonna go check that out, and I had to spare some money for that instead of car parts. So life happens, gonna go enjoy some things, and hopefully I will be able to get those soon and shipped out. But as of now, these are gonna do great and work wonders for the car. Yeah, she's gonna be pretty low, to be honest, but look how beautiful that is compared to this piece of crap. These look so bad. Oh, that one actually uncompressed. Woo! Yeah. So it's in there. I'm gonna get some support top, wherever we went, strut mount supports to put in here. Probably just a bar all the way across. I already have some upstairs for this, and I just have to get them welded in, so those will be nice. But front's done, rear's close. We just have to put that last one in there. We're gonna measure everything out, put this last strut in, and then we'll be good to see how much of a pain in the ass it's gonna be to get this thing on the ground, which is super exciting. All right, both are in. We've got this side in, this side in. Fronts are on, and man, she gonna be low. Proportionate low, like drift car low. This is good. We don't wanna like tuck or be slammed or anything. got a little bit of toe going on here, but we're not gonna mind that for now. We will adjust that as needed. Jackson's finishing tightening up that, and then we are going to get this baby on the ground and possibly take it for a test drive to see how she does. All right, wheels are on. These are the drift spares that I have. Front wheels are my normal wheels. Everything's looking good, tightened up, ready to go. We are going to make sure that it's not gonna rub in the front too bad and then get her on the ground. But one thing I do wanna talk about, these bad boys right here. I picked these up super, super cheap on Facebook Marketplace. Some guy left them in his apartment or whatever he was renting, and this guy sold them to me for like 150 bucks. And they are in pretty good shape, I'm not gonna lie. So super hyped about these. I love these wheels. I think they're gonna look really good. Gotta fix some small stuff like that, and I'm gonna get them powder coated. So those are gonna look awesome when they are done, and I'm super hyped about that. And I was able to pick up all four, no cracks, just a couple like small scratches, things like that I'm not worried about at all. That is a steal for those wheels. If anybody knows about BMW OEMs, you know that's a steal. So super hyped about that. So we're gonna hop on this, make sure everything's good to go. And then maybe take her for a drive, because I think it's still kind of bright outside, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, yeah, we're good. It is still bright outside. Beautiful sunset over in Indianapolis. So we're going to take her for a spin. She is on the ground, and she's low. Got a little bit of camber up front. Looks good. We are barely clearing in the rear, but she's going to work well. So we're going to take her out and see how she drives. Okay, took it for its first test drive with the suspension on, and it feels so much better. It's amazing. It performed just as I expected it to, but drive shaft was loose. Yeah. So we heard a clunking, and Jackson got under there and realized the drive shaft was loose. So I'm currently in the car holding the brake, and he's doing the tightening, and then we'll be good for tonight. But I'm very excited. I can now get back to uploading videos and start to get stuff in. We got to figure out the alignment. The front toe is way off, and it was not happy, but the car felt great. It steered great. Just a completely different car from the event that we drove at. So it's really cool to see, and we've got a lot more stuff coming. So I'm super excited. We're actually going to start messing with these guys and getting some of those tires ripped off, because I have that whole left side are all brand new tires. So I've got some extra tires to wear through, some events to get to, and some stuff to get going, because I have an event that I plan on getting to in September that I'm super excited for, and gonna drive with some homies and things like that. We just went to Grid Life, got to see everything, and I was just ready to get back home to work on this thing. So super excited, a lot more to come. So stay along for the ride and hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see some more.